guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Ivy, and today I'm going to be talking about The Scorch Trials by James Dashner. So this is the second book in the Maze Runner series, and if you don't know, The Maze Runner is about a boy named Thomas who wakes up one day in an elevator, and the only thing he can remember is his name, Thomas. And so he finds himself inside a large maze with a bunch of other teenagers, and they need to figure out how to get out. So this is the sequel to that. And if you have not read the first book, I highly recommend that you go read it and leave this video now because I'm about to spoil that book for you. Okay, so this picks up right where the Maze Runner leaves off. It begins in the dorm room where the Gladers were left, and so they wake up, and then there's a bunch of crazy people outside their windows trying to get in. And then they discover that Teresa is gone. And Thomas can't talk to her with his telepathy anymore. But Eris is there, this new kid, and he basically tells them that there was another group. But this group was all girls, so they weren't the only maze trials. So they're like, okay, that's a little weird. And then the Rat Man shows up. That's what they call the guy that shows up, like, out of thin air in the common area, and this guy tells them some stuff. First of all, Wicked, it stands for something, I don't even know, but basically they learn that the Earth has been ravaged by sun flares, and then a disease called the flare broke out, and so you get it, and it slowly drives you mad, and so, like, everyone is getting it. So the man tells them that they all have the flare, and that they need to go 100 miles across the Scorch, an area that was damaged by the sun flares, to get to this safe haven where they will find a cure for themselves. And he calls these the Scorch Trials. So they have to go through a whole nother set of trials in order to get the cure for themselves, and that's basically the whole setup of this book. So this has a wonderful cast of characters, including Thomas, the main character, obviously, and in this book he is determined to fight against Wicked, and he is determined to beat them, and to do that he thinks that he needs to make it to the end. And then there is Minho, my absolute favorite character. He is so funny. I love him so much. His wit is so great, and I just love Minho. And then there's Newt, and he's so calm and cool and collected. Oh, another thing, the tattoos that they have that appear on them makes Minho the leader, and I love that. I love Minho as the leader. Anyways, back to Newt. He's so cool and calm and collected, and as his tattoo says, he's the glue of the group. And it's so, so true. And then, so that's basically the main characters. Yeah. So if you have not read this book yet, I highly recommend that you go do. It was a really enjoyable book, so leave this video now if you have not read it because I'm about to spoil it. Okay, so everyone leaves the dormitories and they're in the tunnel with the death balls, and that was crazy. I loved it. I love that part with the death balls. Is that bad? It's probably bad. I have a very violent mind. Anyways, they end up in the Scorch and they're traveling across the desert. Thomas still hasn't talked to Teresa, and then there's the huge lightning storm, and it's crazy, and I don't know, I think 2 people die, and then Minho gets struck, and I thought he was going to die, and I was really scared, so that was crazy. And it was because of the sun flares. I did not see that coming at all, the crazy lightning, but they end up, I can't remember, they find shelter, and then they talk to Teresa at some point. I think it's before the storm. Thomas goes and he talks to Teresa, and, like, she kisses him, and she says, like, I don't know, but that happens. And then they go and they meet Jorge and Brenda, and I adore both of them, especially Brenda. She's so cool. And then the romance between Thomas and Brenda starts once they get separated from the other group, and they're trying to escape all the cranks. And I love Brenda. I've said that already, but I love her, okay? She's just so gosh darn cool. So Brenda and Thomas get separated from the rest of the group, and they end up at the crank party. I don't know why, I just love that part so much. I loved how, like, they were all crazy and they were gonna eat them and stuff. I don't know, I don't know. But then Minho comes and rescues them, and then what happens? Oh my goodness, they escape the city. They end up out of the city with Jorge and Brenda. Everyone's still alive-ish, kind of. Well, besides the kids that got killed in the tunnels before in the storm. Anyways, then they meet up with the girl group, or Group B, Teresa's people now, and they take Thomas and, like, they're torturing him, basically, and I was like, okay, something's not right here. Like, I didn't believe it that it was actually true. Like, I trusted Teresa, and I trusted them. So once like, Teresa goes, like, off on her own, and, like, the group as a whole decides not to kill Thomas, then he gets lured in by Teresa and Eris. This is where it got a little crazy. When Teresa said, "Eris is my best friend," and they kissed, it was like my heart got ripped out and just chopped to pieces. Because poor Thomas is loving Teresa this whole entire time, and then he finds out, oh, never mind, it was all fake. And then they betray him, and they put him in the room with, like, the gas and stuff, and he almost dies. And, well, actually, he doesn't almost die, but he thinks he's gonna die, and he feels betrayed. So betrayed. But then he comes out and he finds out that it was all fake, that they were on his side the whole time, and they were doing it because Wicked threatened to kill him if they didn't do that, and it was all part of the variables. And he was mad, and I was shocked. Like, I was so confused, and just, I don't know, it was the weirdest thing. Like, I get it now, they had to do that, but Thomas can never forgive them for that, and I don't blame him, to be honest. And Teresa, she feels bad, but, like, I don't know, I don't like Teresa anymore. After that, I'm with Thomas. I don't trust her anymore. Nuh-uh. So then they meet up with the rest of the group at the safe haven, which is just like the stick in the ground. Oh, I love when Minho was like, our safe haven is a stick in the ground. It's just so funny. And then the monsters show up and they fight those things. Those were weird. I don't know. And then the hovercraft shows up, and not the hovercraft, the Berg shows up. And then they're rescued. Then, what happens? Oh, goodness, what happens? They're told it's all over. I didn't believe it, neither did Thomas and them. But, you know, whatever. So, they're on the Berg. I feel like something important happens. What happens? Oh, Thomas falls asleep, and Teresa talks to him in his mind and tells him that Wicked is good. But Brenda's also there, and she warns him that stuff's gonna get bad. And so that happens, and they all think, well, I don't know if they think they're safe, but they seem safe for now. And then in the epilogue, it's like the lab report, and we learn that they may or may not be immune to the flare. And so obviously there was no cure at the end. There was never a cure. And so, yeah, that's basically the end. And, oh, we also in the epilogue learned that there are candidates, like something about candidates. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see until the next book to figure out what the heck that means. Okay, so I loved this book. It was such a great sequel, and I don't know if I like this one or the first one better, but I love this story. So suspenseful, and just so many twists and turns, and confusing at times, but in a good way. And I don't know, it's just a great story, very fast-paced. I love the characters, especially Minho and Brenda. They're my besties, and I don't know, I like this story a lot. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars, and yeah, it was good, and I'm definitely gonna read the next one. I'm actually reading it right now. So far, it's good. Probably do another video on that one as well. We'll see. Okay, so that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And in case you want to check out the book talk on The Maze Runner, I'll have that link down below in the description box. And yeah, I think that's it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!